Have you ever wondered how a simple chase can turn into a story of heroism that no one will forget? On a normal night, the streets of the city, to become the scene of a police operation is intense, and where the danger came very quickly, at the expense of the lives of many people. Police chasing a criminal, armed, and determined to escape at any cost, and the tension in the air was palpable. Every second seemed to be a battle all the time, and the risk of tragedy, above all on the people involved. In this scenario, a high adrenaline bravery of the police officers has been put to the test, but a few could have imagined is that, at the time, with a presence and surprise it would make all the difference. Have you ever gone through a situation in which, in the face of an emergency, someone or something comes up to change the course of events? It may seem like a scene from the film, but this story really happened, and uncovers a heart that goes above and beyond the ordinary. Stay with me until the very end, because that's all you're going to find out right now might surprise you in a way you never thought possible. A furry hero, trained and loyal, and sprang into action just when all seemed lost, and it is the strength of the instinct for self-protection, and the bravery that the dog will not move, and will make you think about the true meaning of loyalty and courage. This is a situation where the danger is right in front of you, and all of a sudden, an unexpected attack, everything changes. This is the intensity that we are going to explore in the next few minutes, revealing every detail of the pursuit, which almost ended in tragedy, but it turned out to be a story of heroism. Are you ready to learn about what has happened to the truth on that day? Then, continue on to me, because in the next part of the story is all the more surprising and exciting. If you can identify with this story, or any part of it, made a profound impression in your heart, I want to invite you to leave here in the comments of your opinion, an experience that is similar to, or even what the story I have for you. Your participation is very important for this community to continue to grow, helping to spread the stories that you inspire with courage, hope, and endurance. Enjoy video it is also a way to show that you value this content and want it to reach even more people, or taking this message out to those who need to hear it. And of course, if you want to keep up with every detail of these incredible stories, we encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any news and be part of a community that values the power of the narrative in real and exciting. After all, it's what we do here is just to create a place where the stories of triumph and courage to win the voice, and your support makes all the difference, so that this movement will continue to grow. So here is my invitation, share your impressions and click on like and subscribe, and so, together, we can continue to build on that connection, and inspired, always in the mood for what is to come on this exciting journey. I now want to go more in depth on this topic, because they understand the impact that our decisions have on our track record is one of the biggest revelations of what we can do for ourselves. Too often, we get stuck in a routine, believing that what we do on a daily basis is sufficient, and that our actions are too small to really make a difference. But the truth is hidden, it's that you each, as small as it may seem to you, it ends up shaping our destiny in one way or the other. It's as if we're building a bridge between the invisible and made of our daily decisions, and that takes us to places that sometimes they don't realize. And the bridge is not built in a day, it is formed from the step-by-step, for the beliefs and quiet, which will be strengthened over time. When we think of transformation, as is often imagined to radical change, something that happens at one time or another, but the reality is that the growth is real. It happens on the detail, the small actions we take with awareness and intention. It is at this point that comes to the importance of understanding our own behind the scenes, and the inner workings that often remain hidden. After all, many of the limitations come from a deep-seated beliefs, out of the fears we've learned to live side by side in patterns that repeat themselves, without notice. And this is where the journey of self-discovery reveals the powerful. As you explore such scenes built in, you can figure out the source of our own doubts and insecurities, and to start working to get out of them. The transformation is, at its core, it begins in the mind. When we change the way we see the world and especially to ourselves, everything around us seems to gain a new perspective. It's as if the curtain was open, revealing the possibilities that were previously hidden behind a fog of limitations, self-imposed. This is a change of mindset is far more profound impact than we could experiment with, because it resets to inform our decisions, our actions, and consequently of our history. It is not a matter of willpower or effort is fleeting, but a reconstruction of the inner which is going through a reprogramming of your thoughts and emotions. And then when you grasp this truth, you start to realize that a journey of self-overcoming is also a story of revelations in the constant. Every obstacle you face, it reveals something about who we are, in fact, and as far as you can get. And at the same time, we will connect you with a network of people who, like us, are looking for this processing is genuine. In this connection, you will often be silent. This is the one that gives you the strength to keep on going even when everything seems to be crashing down around us. Because deep down we know that on this journey, it is a construction site daily, with a series of small wins that add up to create a reality that's completely new. The impact of these revelations go beyond the individual. When we share our stories and inspire others to also look at the inside of yourself, to challenge your own limitations, and to believe in the possibility of a real change. It is a chain of impact that lives on courage, vulnerability, and a sincere desire to evolve. And in the process, we found out that we are not alone in their journey. They each has a story of resilience. As small as it may seem to you, it has the potential to shine a light on the lives of those who need just such a hope, that the force to move forward. The truth is hidden. It is often the biggest hurdle. We are the same. To our mind, to act as a bridge between who we are and who we can be, and it needs to be taken care of, and constant attention. When you learn how to nurture positive thoughts, and boost our self-esteem, and to break down limiting beliefs, we will give you a decisive step in the direction of a new life. And this change is not just a matter of words, or a dream, but the specific actions that will be anchored in the confidence that we are capable to turn to our own lives. Thus, each conscious decision to become a building block of a future that is more aligned with who you truly want to be. And as long as this transformation occurs, the impact is reflected in our relationship with the world around them. We see opportunities where we could see the obstacles, to see the potential in each of these tasks. It is as if it is our vision to expand, making room for a growth mindset which drives us to seek more, learn from mistakes, and celebrate each and every victory, no matter how small. This change in perspective, it is a real revolution in the domestic, which allows us to not only survive, but thrive, even in the face of difficulties, the more complex it is. All of this leads us to a deeper understanding of what it means to live a life of purpose. It is not only to achieve the goals of the outside, but will grow on a journey of inner discovery and learning, a constant. When we align our actions with our values as a more authentic, you create a powerful synergy that propels you to move forward, even when the path seems too difficult. And in it, we learn that true strength lies in our ability to reinvent ourselves, accepting our vulnerability, and to continue to strive for a better version of ourselves. Now, I want you to go even deeper on this topic, because of the revelation is more powerful than we are, that this is a journey of transformation never ends. There is always a next level, then a new layer for you to explore, and a truth is hidden. When uncovered, it leads us to progress even more. This is a continuous quest for self-knowledge. This is the one that really sets you dreaming of the one who really won. And then when you make the connection with our inner selves, we find that the power to change our story, it is in our own hand, and on the strength of our decisions, and the courage to face our own truths. It is a journey that reveals to us the infinite potential that lies within each and every one of us, just waiting to be awakened. And as we reflect on all of this, is to make sure that every step taken in this direction, that is, a seed is planted in good soil and ready to bloom into something extraordinary. That's the beauty of it, to understand that change happens from the inside to the outside, and that it is a solid construction, a move that requires commitment, courage, and above all, self-love. Because at the end of the day, the greatest change is one that happens in our mind, in our soul, in our heart. And that's when it all begins to gain a new meaning, a new life that lights the way to a life more full, more real. He comments that it makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation, is not something that happens on a surface, or in the moment. It is a journey of the silent, often invisible to the external, but the echo brightly in all of us. It is in this area, built in, the decisions that most impact is made, and where our mindset is shaped, and where the old patterns, they begin to fade into the background, giving way to a new understanding of who we really are. In the process, and the truth hidden, often appears as a mirror that reflects the things that we'd rather ignore, and what is buried deep under the layers of insecurity, fear, or even for a self-image is distorted. When we first started to explore the roots of these emotions and limiting beliefs, we see that they have often been built up over the years, driven by experience, and by the judgments of the outside world, or an internal narrative of the church. In this narrative, one that is more deep-rooted, it can be changed. And this is where it comes to the crucial role of the conscience. Self-awareness is the first step towards a real transformation, because it gives us the power to choose. Pick if we're going to keep feeding you thoughts in the trap, or will we choose a mindset that sets us free, and that drives us to move forward. When you understand, our everyday decisions shape the impact that we have on our own journey, we begin to realize that every little bit of attitude, every thought, every word, that has a knock-on effect. And it's not just a question of motivation is shallow, but it is a change of paradigm, a shift in perspective. When you are looking at the world through the eyes more open, more curious, more aware, we begin to see the opportunities that were out there all the time, is often hidden in that fog of doubt and insecurity that we have created in our minds. This clarity allows us to see beyond the obvious, to find out the signs that are on the back of each challenge, and to turn the difficulties in the steps of the growth, the real transformation. It also shows the importance of taking responsibility for what we have. Don't point the blame external circumstances or other people for our failures, because deep down, we're the ones who choose how to react to the situation. And that, as simple as it may sound, it has a profound impact on our development. Many times, a change of mind about having the courage to face what's hiding deep within us, what we often prefer to leave out of fear that we're going to find out. But when you do this, the motion of the auto-explorer KO, we can begin to understand our own limitations, is not a final judgment, but rather an opportunity to get ahead, to redefine our limits and capabilities. And it is at this point that it connects to the idea of an impact. As we become more aware of who we are, we come to influence not only our career, but also the lives of those around us. The transformation of the interior is very catchy. It inspires, it motivates you, and above all, it shows that it is possible to change the starting point at which we decided to take the first step. This is a journey of self-discovery, revealing the behind the scenes of the interior, and the secrets that we have for years, sometimes without even realizing it. It is a constant revelation, a building on the daily with a new narrative, a story of which we are the players to choose the way. When you realize all of this, it is clear that real change is not dependent on external factors, but internal decision, a commitment to our evolution. And at the same time, it connects us to a greater truth, that we have been able to create a life that is aligned with your values, dreams, and purpose. Every step on this path of self-knowledge and strengthens with our strength, our courage, and our commitment to transforming the journey of an experiment in growing, where every challenge is an opportunity to learn, every fall is a chance to get back on their feet more strongly. This is the essence of true transformation, one that happens in the soul, and it is reflected in our own way, mysterious and long-lasting, and true. And so as you explore each and every layer from the inside, we sense that the greatest strength is in the simplicity of accepting who we are today, with all our flaws and strengths. It is a movement of self-love that feeds on it, with a decision set out to reinvent yourself, to cherish each and every step of the way, because at the end of the day, the real you is the one that makes us most human, most honorable people, and more connected to our inner selves. And in doing so, we open up space for a new perspective, a new light, which shines a light on the possibilities that have always been at our fingertips, just waiting for us to decide to see them with your eyes, more alert. And my heart is open. I now want to go more in depth on this subject, for it is at this point that it really makes it eye-opener. Many times, we look for changes in the external. We do try to adjust to our surroundings, our own routines, or even the people around us, hoping that this action will bring the much-needed transformation. But in truth, the real change happens first in the us. It is a day of silence, which begins in the mind, in how we choose to interpret the world, and above all, how we choose to see ourselves. As we come to understand that every transformation is a genuine comes from a change in our way of thinking, it all starts to make sense. It's kind of like a wake-up built-in, a conscious decision to let go of what limits us, of what we hold on to the past, or to the belief that sometimes you don't even realize that we have. And then there comes a question, which only a few have the courage to confront: our everyday decisions are what really shapes who we are and who we can become. For each choice, as small as it may seem, it is a critical piece in the puzzle of the evolution. It is as if in the course of time, we built a bridge to the invisible between the present and the future, and what we have in mind. This bridge is made of the dreams and desires are empty, but the specific actions of small actions that, when added together, they create a new reality. It is during this process that many people will discover the truth hidden behind it, which we will call the success or failure of the connection between what we think we are capable of achieving and the courage to take the next step, even when the path seems uncertain or scary. Transformation, therefore, is not something that happens at one time or another, nor is it the result of a magic trick. It is the result of a series of conscious decisions, powered by a mindset that fosters growth, resilience, and authenticity. When we begin to question our own limits, and to understand that they are often the stories we tell ourselves, we take a decisive step on the road to freedom, is to be who you really are. In the process, we discover that the journey is not linear, that is, there are many ups and downs, moments of doubt, and for clarity, but it's all part of an evolution in the part that enriches our hearts and prepares us to face new challenges. It is in this context that the signs are beginning to emerge, the revelations that will change our perception of the world, which make us see beyond the surface of the illusion created by the ego. We see, for example, that our actions have an impact going far beyond what you can imagine in a daily routine. Each and every decision, charged with intention and a positive or a negative echo in the universe in ways that oftentimes we have found for years to come. This understanding leads to a deeper level of responsibility, the consciousness of which we are agents of transformation in the collective, even if it seems to be silent or invisible. After all, every change starts within, but the impact is spread in waves across borders, both internal and external. When you think about all of this, we see that the journey of self-discovery is, in effect, a constant quest for authenticity. It is a process that links to the masks that we wear in order to please others, or to hide our insecurities. The more we tune into our lives, the more we can take action with the truth, with courage, and with a purpose. And in this movement, we find that the transformation of the most powerful is the one that makes you more human, more whole, more connected to what's most valuable in all of us. Thus, Thus, each and every step taken in this direction will lead you to a new phase, where the freedom lies in the ability to be true to who you are actually, regardless of the external circumstances. It is a journey that requires courage, but it will also reward you with a feeling of fulfillment that nothing else can bring. Now, I want you to go even deeper on this topic, because with the understanding that the change starts in our mind, it leads us to wonder to what extent our own personal beliefs and patterns of behavior that are shaping our reality. Oftentimes, we create a sort of comfort zone emotional wear to put up with what is familiar, even if it causes us to suffer or get in the way of progress. In this area, even though it appears safe, turns out to be a prison or invisible, just an illusion that keeps us from seeing the possibilities that are in it. To break through these walls built in, it takes a certain courage to confront what we believe to be the truth, and many times, that means a revisit of our life stories, of our past choices, and the knowledge that we have, without realizing it. When you make this the year of the auto-confronto, we understand that many of our limitations are, in fact, the constructions of the mind that we can dismantle. It is a process of letting go, freeing yourself of old ideas, and embrace a new mindset, growth. This shift in perspective, it is like a key that opens the door to new possibilities for a more complete list of what you can achieve. And in doing so, we realize that our journey of transformation, it's a sort of a reunion with our essence is pure, that which exists prior to being shaped by outside opinions, hopes, or fears. In this way, the true freedom begins within each of us, the courage to be authentic to yourself and choose the path that really resonates with who we are of the truth. All of this leads us to reflect on the impact our actions have on our life path. Every decision is like a seed planted in the soil of our future, and the care that we have to choose the one that you grow makes all the difference. When we act with intention and conscience, and everything takes on a new meaning, our actions are no longer as mere responses to the external environment, and to become part of a movement of conscious evolution. In this context, the understanding of the importance of taking responsibility for our choices is key. It's not about blame it on the past, or to be imprisoned for failure, but recognizing that we have the power to make each and every experience is a growth opportunity. After all, it's the true transformation, is not something that happens from the outside to the inside, but it's something that is evident in the way we think, feel, and act every day, and we are well aware of that. We find that the impact of our decision-making, and echoed by the whole of our lives, influencing not only the present but also the future of our world. It's as if you're writing a story with each and every thought and every action to shape a narrative, self-awareness, and the evolution of each chapter. It becomes more and more real, and more powerful. And this story just won its true meaning when we align our actions with our values that have more or less than what we really believe to be important to you. Thus, the transformation is no longer an external search, and turns out to be a genuine expression of who we are, and what we want to share with the world. And in the meantime, the universe conspires in favor of those who choose to follow this path to authenticity, revealing the possibilities of the occult, which have always been at the fingertips, just waiting for you to have the courage to see them with your eyes, more alert. And my heart is open. He comments that it makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation, is not something that happens from one hour to the other, or change the surface that you can wrap our heads around what defines us. It's a rupture, a sort of wake-up interior that defies our own limiting beliefs, and forces us to confront who we really are from the inside to the outside. It is at this turning point that a lot of people feel the fear arises, and the fear of leaving behind what he was comfortable with, even if that comfort zone is, in fact, it's a prison, it is invisible. And it is precisely here that the day-to-day becomes more and more intense, the most eye-opening, because it takes courage to leave behind what no longer serves you, to question the truths that we have been taught, and that, many times, only to have acted as the walls on the journey. When you jump in the deep end of this process, we realize that it's the true transformation is not only in the external actions, the results are visible, but in a change of mind, in the way we see the world, and above all, how we see it. It is as if each and every decision that we make, it's a piece of a big jigsaw puzzle, where every conscious or unconscious is shaping who we are and who we can be. And in this game of self-discovery, show up stunning revelations, inner discoveries that show us that the truth is hidden. It was always there, hidden beneath layers of fear, self-doubt, or even to one's self-esteem diminished. When we begin to look beyond the surface, we realize that many of our limitations are only mental constructs, the products of the narrative. We learn to accept it as true. It's as if our minds had created a sort of filter that distorts reality, and causing us to doubt our potential, or that minimizes our own unique in-game achievements. This insight is a game changer, because it sets us free from the vicious cycle of autosabotage, and goes on to open up the space for new ways of thinking, feeling, and acting. At this point, the transformation is no longer something foreign, and turns out to be a genuine expression of our inner selves, is a manifestation of what you truly believe in, and that we want to share with the world. And so, over the course of the journey, we have become more aware of the behind the scenes of one's own behavior, behavior, to the small, everyday choices that often seem insignificant, but which, in fact, have a major impact on our development. Every decision is an opportunity to reaffirm our authenticity and to strengthen our way of thinking and of creating a new story of life, which is based on the courage to be who you really are. It is in this movement of self-transformation that we began to realize that the universe conspires in favor of those who have the courage to look in the mirror with honesty, to admit their vulnerabilities, and to embrace the truth, and with all the strength that you have inside of you. However, this revelation is accompanied by a responsibility to keep up with this new way to look at it alive, to nurture this growth mindset, and don't fall into the trap of settling into the comfort zone of the change in the surface. True transformation requires perseverance, self-discipline, emotional, and a provision for it to evolve, even in the face of all obstacles that come up. It is a movement of highs and lows, discoveries and new beginnings, where each step taken in the direction of the authenticity and strengthens the journey of self-discovery. And in so doing, we can begin to understand that life, with all of its challenges and surprises at every turn, this is a great opportunity for us to reinvent ourselves each and every day, to build a version that is more in tune with who you really are and want to show it to the world. When you look at this process in this perspective, the most profound, all of it is clear. The transformation is not a destination but a continuous journey of self-discovery and growth. And on this journey, each discovery, each made a conscious decision, each and every small step in the right direction for the truth and closer to living a life more full, more authentic, more real. After all, it is the impact of this change will go far beyond what we can imagine at first glance. This is a real revolution in the home that has the power to change everything around us, impacting our relationships, our choices, and especially our way of looking at the world and ourselves. And at this point, it is the feeling that we are just at the beginning of a journey that promises to reveal even more of the secrets, behind the scenes and insights that, until now, they were hidden beneath the surface of our consciousness. He comments that it makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation happens not only with the changes in the external or the actions that we took in a conscious way. It begins, in fact, deep down in our core, in our way of thinking and a more in-depth. It is as if we were sailing through the ocean wide and quiet. Each of the wave represents a belief in a pattern of thought or an emotion. A lot of times, we do not even realize that we're carrying around with us. And in the inland sea, many of these waves are responsible for the shaping of the whole of our experience of life and influences each and every decision, every reaction, and every step we take on our journey. The truth hides behind all this is that in our mind it is a real machine to create reality. She is constantly working to improve, whether it be to enhance what we believe in or to challenge those beliefs when they don't make a lot of sense. And it seems that we are in control. Most of the time, we are just a passenger in this process, and to respond to the waves that emerge don't fully understand the impact of it. The big revelation here is that we can, however, assume the command of this vessel, but to do so, we first need to understand the behind the scenes of one's own mental functioning. This includes figuring out the roots of these limiting beliefs, the stories we tell ourselves, and often we don't even notice they are there, hidden under the layers of fear, doubt, or even to a false sense of security. When we first started doing this work in-house research, and the impact is immediate. It's like opening a window on a day closed. All of a sudden, you enter a light to reveal what was hidden in the shadows. In this light, it is, in fact, our own consciousness in waking up to a new reality, a version that is closer to the truth than we do ourselves. From there, it all starts to make sense, because we understand that a lot of what keeps us from moving forward, it's not a question of luck or fate, but that of the internal changes that you can make at any time. And these changes, in turn, has a cascading effect, impacting not only our thoughts but also our emotions, our actions, and even the people around us. The key to this transformation is the understanding that our way of thinking is a powerful tool that can create or destroy opportunities. When we learn how to master this tool, we can shape our own realities in a way that seemed to be impossible. It's like all of a sudden, we see behind the curtain and discover the sidelines of your own life, where the real decisions are made. And in doing so, we have become the protagonists of a story that, until now, it appeared to be written by external forces. That even if the internal is actually the journey of 1,000 autoabertura, the courage to face what is hidden, and the determination to transform what you've limited, something that drives us forward. However, this journey is not linear, nor is it simple. It requires persistence, patience, and a genuine desire to get to know you deeply. As we move forward, we begin to realize that many of our reactions are automatic. Those who often ashamed or frustrated, they are just the results of the old patterns that strive to be. And by recognizing these patterns, we can begin to work consciously in order to replace them with new ways of thinking and feeling. This is not the case for the night and the day, but with each conquest of the inner, no matter how small, we are building a strong foundation for a lasting change. And it is precisely at this point that their true power is revealed. To realize that we are the architects of our own destiny, even if we carry the scars and the questions. Because this whole journey of self-discovery, of revelation, and of the change in its internal structure is not only impacting our specific results, but also to transform our relationship to the world and to the people and, above all, to ourselves. And that, in itself, is a victory worth celebrating, and a confirmation that you are on the right path, even though at times it may seem that we are walking in the opposite direction, or that progress has been slower than we would like. At each time step, every time a new discovery, we are moving closer to a more authentic, more in line with what you really are, and we want it to. And as long as this journey continues, it is certain that the greatest impact, it happens when you decide to look inside, to challenge our own beliefs, and to open up space for a transformation that goes far beyond the superficial. A change that, in fact, it's a great message, but very powerful, able to reshape the whole of our history, and open the door to possibilities that before would have seemed impossible. And in that moment of discovery, all the things that felt so far away, it begins to make it not only possible, but inevitable when you take that first step of courage and honesty. He comments that it makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is exactly in phase with the discovery that the real magic happens. Many times, people get lost in the superficiality of the changes, believing that they just have to do something specific or to follow a recipe, ready to reach for what you want. But the real revolution in the quiet that occurs when we begin to understand that each and every decision, however small they may seem to you, it's a critical piece in the great puzzle of our transformation. It's as if we're building a bridge between the invisible, between who we are today and who we will become tomorrow. And this is the bridge, for a more gentle as it may seem, is based on informed choices, through an open-minded and a genuine desire to improve. When I look back, I realize that a lot of times we allow ourselves to be carried away by the fear of the unknown, just as if the idea of changing it to something creepy, a threat to our stability. But in fact, it's exactly the opposite. The change of the system is the engine that drives that journey, one that challenges our beliefs, barriers, and causes us to question everything we've been taught as absolute truth. This is the question that we have started to uncover the deepest layers of our lives, and discovering the things that really matter, the thing that moves us to the truth. In this process, we have learned that the transformation is not a straight line, but rather a continuous cycle of learning, successes and failures, which shape and strengthen you. Speaking at the sidelines of such a change, it is crucial to understand that it all starts in the mind. To our way of thinking, it is often the biggest barrier, or the greatest ally in this journey. When it has been powered by a limiting belief, it acts as a prison or invisible, thus preventing us to walk with courage. But at the same time, it has the power to transform, to grow, to open yourself up to new possibilities. That's where concepts such as self-awareness and emotional intelligence, the tools that act as master keys to unlock this hidden potential. It reveals a truth that is hidden by the back of your emotions and thoughts, automated, helping you to reprogram patterns, which had, until then, appeared to be unchanged. You understand that your mind is coupled with a powerful, well-trained staff. This is an important step in the journey, the impact of what we look for. After all, our daily decisions, our actions, and even the way we think about the obstacles, they depend, in a great measure, on this, our ability to manage emotions and to cultivate a growth mindset. This paradigm shift requires courage, because a lot of times it's easier to stay in your comfort zone, even though it is limited. But when you take a step, you start to realize that the real power lies in our willingness to learn, to grow, and to accept the fact that the path of self-knowledge, that is, in fact, it's a great message, but the impact is profound. And it is this revolution that's happening behind the scenes of our mind, and it ends up leading to all areas of our lives, relationships, career, health, and finance. For each achievement, each change of perspective, as a victory that boosts our self-confidence and prepares you for the challenges ahead. And all of this is only possible because at heart, we have decided not to accept the limitations imposed by fear or doubt. We have decided to give up the old belief that we had to be stuck with a weaker version of ourselves. At this point, we realize that it's the true transformation comes from within, and that is to transform our way of thinking. We can change our reality. However, this event is something that happens from day to night. It is a continuous process of self-discovery and choices. Each step is given with sincerity and determination. That is, a seed is planted in good soil, that one day you will blossom in surprising ways. And at the same time, it is important to understand that there will be times of doubt and strength, and even construction. But in those moments, they are an essential part of the growth, the lessons that life has to offer, so that we can evolve from the truth. When you are learning to look beyond the difficulties, we see that they also have a role in our transformation, as they are what make us stronger, and teach us that we are able to overcome any obstacle when you have the courage to move forward. And at this point, it is clear that the essence of silent revolution is at our disposal, to be ourselves, to embrace our imperfections, and to pursue a better version of ourselves without the fear of making a mistake. After all, it is the vulnerability that we find the strength that is the honesty of what we have built a strong foundation for a lasting change. And when you do that, you start to realize that life, with all its intricacies and mysteries, and it serves as a great opportunity for us to reinvent our most the time. In each experiment, each of the learning process, it is a piece that is combined to form a mosaic, in which we can build it. And all of this leads us to think more deeply about the impact that a change of mind you can get in the way. From the small, daily decisions to the great strides we challenge you to get out of your comfort zone, each and every detail of the account of the formation of a new reality. And this impact is not limited to ourselves and yourselves, and he is the echo of those around you, inspiring others to also participate in their own silent revolution. Because after all, the true transformation is the conference, which is a chain of actions that you connect with a genuine desire to grow and make a difference. Thus, to understand these dynamics, we realize that we are all in the same boat, sailing towards a discovery that could change lives, including our own, in a way that it is not always possible to imagine from the very beginning. And if you think about all of this, it is clear that the secret lies in the courage to take the first step, even when everything seems to be up in the air. And in so doing, we open the doors to the revelations stunning. They go so far beyond what we could ever imagine. This is the culmination of a journey from the impact of it is true, a constant quest for authenticity, growth, and by the certainty that, whatever the obstacles, we are able to create a new chapter in its history, a history that is reflected in our improved version. And in the process, we find that the higher power is in our choice to continue to grow and develop, and to believe that anything is possible when you have the courage to change our minds. He writes in, I'm on this journey too. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation doesn't just happen with a change in the surface or in the words of motivation, which they lose in the air. It is born out of a conscious decision, a commitment to the journal, which starts in our mind, in the way we see the world and the people, and of course we are the same. It is as if, for a long time, we were stuck in a sort of prison, in the invisible, which was created by the built-in limitations, limiting beliefs and fears, which often don't even realize. This situation, which seems so solid, in fact, are made by automatic thoughts and patterns of behavior that enhance our comfort zone. When you begin to question those beliefs, and to challenge what we have been taught, to look for a new narrative, one that, something inside of us begins to move. It's like opening a window in a room in the dark, allowing the light to enter and brighten up every corner of Escondido. In this light, it reveals what we truly are, beyond the mask, and one of the labels that we carry for years to come. At this time, our way of thinking and becomes an ally to powerful, capable of turning obstacles into opportunities and weaknesses into powerful lessons. It is then that we realize that our choices, however small they may seem, they have a profound impact on our way of development. And at the same time, it is about having the courage in the face of the truths that a lot of times we would prefer to ignore, the courage to let go of the old ways, and to accept that the way for the growth, it is made up of ups and downs, moments of doubt, and of the joys of the unexpected. The truth hides behind all this journey is that the transformation is not a one-off event, but a constant build-up. Every decision we make, every thought that we have cultivated, it is a brick in the structure of the self. And when we realize this, we can begin to understand what is the real difference is in the consistency, the persistence to keep up that growth mindset even when everything around us seems to suggest otherwise. In this case, it really does make a difference is our ability to focus on the truth, not falling for the fear of failure, or because of the weight of the expectations of external stakeholders. It's a matter of trust, and to believe that no matter what happens, there is always a chance to start over, to learn something new, and reinventing itself. This is personal, is the one that gives us the strength to continue, even during the most difficult times, because we know that the greatest power is in our choice to move on, to seek the highest and best selves, to transform every challenge into a gateway to a stronger, more aware, and more accurate. And along the way, we discover that the journey is of impact. It is not a straight line. It is made up of curves, variants, moments of silence, and self-reflection. It is during these times that we get to listen to the voice closer to the truth, which is our true essence. And it is this essence, when it is aligned with our shares, you create a life that impacts not only our lives but also for people around us. These findings, which often seem to be simple, have a depth that only those who are actually engaged in this transformation is able to understand it. It's like every step on this path would be a piece of a puzzle. Slowly, she reveals the full picture of who you are. In fact, right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject matter, because when you realize that it all starts in your own mind, we realize too that the change of mentality, it's a process that requires care, patience, and above all, in connection with what they believe to be right. It is necessary to cultivate positive thoughts, to enhance our strengths and learn how to celebrate each small victory. So we've created a sort of shield against all the doubts and obstacles, which they insist on trying to drag us back to the past. This change, which seems to be so great, it starts with a few simple steps, with the daily choices that strengthen our brand brand new narrative and nurture that which we wish to build. Over the course of the journey, we also find that, in our story, the impact is not just on the success of the external or material achievements, but also about the impact on the internal life of our own. It's about the peace that is found in us to accept it in its entirety, for our faults, our mistakes, and our virtues. It is this delicate balance that is the very strength to carry on, to create a life that aligns with our deepest values. And when you understand it, it is clear that every decision, every thought is like a seed planted in the fertile soil of our soul that is ready to bloom when we take all due care and attention. In this connection, the interior provides us with a clearer about what really matters to you. It is not a matter of perfection, but originality. We are loyal to the core, even when the world pushes you to go in a different direction. It is at this point that we realize that it's the true transformation is to go on a journey of self-discovery and of the courage to be who you truly are and to trust in the power that lies within each and every one of us. And to understand this, we have been able to create a story of the impact, which, in addition to the transformation of our lives, it inspires others to also wake up to a new reality. He comments that it makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation doesn't just happen on the big decisions in times of crisis, but in a way that we can day in day out, to challenge our own built-in limitations. It is as if for each choice, he will hide himself an opportunity of reconnecting with who we really are, and a chance to demystify the little voice inside that urges us to limit it, creating a sort of battle of quiet between what we want and what we think is possible. This battle is often fought in the silence of the mind, where thoughts and concerns seem to be gaining strength as the courage to move forward is becoming more and more distant. However, the beauty of this trek lies in the ability to rewrite that narrative is built in. It is not a matter of ignoring your way of pretending that life is perfect, but you can learn to see these challenges as part of the process of growing up. Every block, every mistake, every decision is wrong, that serves as a lesson that shapes us and prepare us for something bigger than themselves. This is where it comes to the importance of having a growth mindset, a mindset that teaches us how to appreciate the effort and to persevere. Even when the evidence seems to be against us, you recognize that the real impact will come from our ability to continue to transform difficulties into stepping stones to success. From this understanding, we can begin to understand that our history is not determined by external circumstances, but by how we respond to them. And at this point, the question that arises is, how much of an impact our actions have on the lives of those around us? Because we expand on this view, we see that each and every decision, however small it may seem, the echo in addition to our own world, a word of encouragement, a gesture of sympathy, an attitude of courage in the face of a difficult situation, all of it adds up to the construction of a narrative and the impact that extends beyond the individual. It's as if we're writing every day a chapter of a story that you can draw inspiration from far-reaching changes in those who follow. And by the same token, the truth hidden behind a lot of these days is that it's the true transformation requires more effort on the surface or the actions of others. It requires a shift in perspective, an alignment procedure that allows us to see beyond our own limitations. It has opened the door for a chance to be there seem to be unattainable. This change begins in the mind, but it manifests itself in our souls and in our lives, and how we interact with the world and with the people around you. When we were able to make that connection so genuine that our energy can be transformed, and this transformation is impacting all around him, creating a domino effect of growth and development. When you think about all of this, it is clear that the journey of self-discovery, it is in fact a day of its release. Free yourself from the limiting beliefs, the patterns in the trap of the expectation that does not represent the truth. The more we let go of, the more space we need in order to develop a new mindset, a mindset of possibilities, and faith in the power that we have inside of us. And it is this faith, in turn, feeds into a virtuous circle of courage, is a decision that leads us to explore uncharted territory and conquer the things that once seemed impossible. It is at this point that the transformation to become a real revolution in the homeland is able to have an impact in not only our history, but also the lives around us. I now want to go more in depth on this topic because they understand that change is a continuous process that leads to the question, to what extent are we willing to immerse you in this journey? Up until that point, we wish to develop is greater than the fear of going out of your comfort zone? These questions are crucial because they show the level of commitment that we have with our own self-transformation. Many of the times, the resistance arises precisely because of the fear of losing control, to face the unknown and to let go of old patterns, which while painful, can give us a sense of safety and security. Yet, it is precisely at this point that the courage it needs to be there, because it's the output for the comfort that we find the greatest possibilities for growth and impact. Each and every step that we take to challenge these barriers are built. It's a confirmation that we are on the right track. Even if the results are not visible immediately, we mean that each effort, each of the decision to move on, you're contributing to a more radical change, a revolution from the type of thinking that is reflected reflected in the way we feel, and the way in which we relate to, and especially, in the way that we affect the world around us. This is a journey of self-discovery, courage, and connection with your inner potential. It is, in essence, it's a great message, but the impact is infinite. It is not surprising then that the realization of this truth, we start to realize that all change starts within us, and which, in the turn of our history, we have become agents of change in the history of the other. He writes in, I'm on this journey too. If you've come this far, it's because I really connected with this idea that transformation begins from the inside to the outside. This is a journey of self-discovery and courage, and above all, an opportunity to see how much we can grow and positively impact our own personal history. So, if this message resonated with me, leave a comment below saying, I'm on this journey too. Thus, we reinforce this connection, the exchange of experiences, and inspire each other. If you found this content helpful, give a like on the video. It helps us to continue bringing you the topics that really make a difference in your daily routine. After all, it is our exchange is strengthened when you participate in, and support makes a world of difference, so that this channel continues to grow, with content that adds value. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as it is here that we seek to offer something that can help you to get a better understanding of yourself, how to overcome obstacles, and to make choices that are more aware of it. I'm pretty sure that every video is made with love and dedication, and thinking about just your personal growth, so you don't miss anything. Ever keep an eye out in the next video, which is here on the side. It complements everything that we talked about today, bringing a new perspective to that of your journey. Click there, and you still on me, because the best is yet to come.